Well, good evening. It is 7 o'clock, and officially our week on the streets is over. It has, uh, it has been an incredibly challenging week. It's been a week that showed us just what it means to be homeless, what it means to live on those streets, to deal with the hurt, the anger, the depression. Um, this has been a tough week. I said on the video a little bit ago when we promoted our service tomorrow that this has probably been one of the most difficult weeks of my ministry. I have done this before. Went out on the streets about 5 years ago, and it was in the month of March, and it was extremely cold. The wind was blowing. I remember it was a blizzard. It was difficult then. I assure you, this was quite a bit worse. The streets have changed in 5 years. They're much more violent. They're much more angry, and it was much hotter. This last week was probably one of the hottest weeks in Reno this summer. The first, almost every day, the first 2/3 of the week was well over 100 degrees. So it was hot, and of course we had the fire and the smoke from the California fires, and that sure didn't help anything. But it was a week that showed me what these folks have to deal with. Now I already had some sense, and this was Angelo's first time, but since I had done it before, I had a good sense of what I was getting into. I knew it was going to be difficult. I knew that the streets are dangerous. I go down to the Gospel Mission every Monday morning. I minister to them. I lead a chapel service. I teach a class with them, and I spend some time out in the pit pretty much every Monday morning, just loving on those people and giving them a smile and praying with them from time to time. And so I know what they have to go through, but I never had really experienced it, especially the heat. Until this week. So it showed me, I guess if I had one takeaway for this whole week, it is the complexity of this issue. We have got so much work to do. We being the church, we being the residents that live in Reno, we being the agencies that truly want to help, and then there's things that the government must do. I liken this to an onion, because the more layers you peel away, the more you realize how much you have to do. There are so many different agencies that are involved. There are churches that have great hearts and are doing some amazing things down there. There are programs that are in place to offer these people help and hope that they will take advantage of it. There are charitable organizations and churches galore that are doing feeding all over the city of Reno. One thing I do know for certain, and I knew this before, but I reinforced it this week, is if you're homeless in Reno, there's no excuse for you being hungry. There are so many different places that will bring down food to the pit, that will do feedings at various areas around the city. Feeding our homeless has been a great mission of our community, and it's working. There are so many different agencies for people who don't have any resources to get food. So the essential basic element of human life, having food, and most of the time available clean water, those are not really an issue in our city. What we did find is the problem of housing, and the problem of mental health issues and dealing with psychological problems. There's the ongoing problem of the drugs and the alcohol use throughout our city. And you really see that in our homeless communities. So really what we found was there tends to be like three different areas, if you want to say. There's the mentally ill, and there's so much of that within the homeless. There's a huge demand for social workers. The social work agencies, the folks that I have talked with, are horribly understaffed. Their caseloads are so incredibly high that they are in constant demand, and they do the best they can with what they have. And then you have the people that are either alcohol or drug addicted. They don't really want to get off the streets. I hate to use the word they like, but they're living the life in their own terms. They don't want to follow the rules, and they don't want to. Again, I hate to use the word enjoy, but they're living the life that they choose. And until they want help, you can't help them. You can't force them to get help. They have to be to that point where they seek it out, and they'll do anything to get help. And that brings us to the third group, and that is the folks that truly hate their life. They're stuck in a cycle. They have no home. Many of them have no jobs, although some do. And they don't see any way out. We lose track of days, but I want to say Wednesday or Thursday, we attended a meeting with the Washoe County Commissioner, and some of the information that was presented to her kind of startled me. And I don't vouch for the accuracy of the information, but one of the figures that they threw at her is that the average rent for a one-bedroom weekly motel, they rent weekly and monthly. The average rent for 1 month at a weekly or monthly hotel for a one-bedroom tiny little studio, $1,200 a month. So we've talked to people who are living in just horrible rundown places that are, and again, I'm only telling you what they told me, filled with cockroaches, tiny apartments that have no amenities, barely have a working refrigerator. Some of them don't have stoves, they have a microwave. And he's paying like $650 a month rent. Now he gets $750 a month Social Security. And a couple of weeks ago, he was served a notice that his rent was going to go from $650 to $850. Well, how's he supposed to live on that? I mean, it's already more than what he makes. And so he finds himself living on the street, homeless, because he has no place to go. He gets some money, but it's not enough. And so the lack of affordable housing is an issue that we have to deal with. We have to deal with it as a community. We have to deal with it from a Christian perspective, that these are our brothers and sisters. These people, some of them, and again, you have the people that want to be there, but I'm dealing specifically with the people that don't, the people that find themselves trapped. How do we, as the body of Christ, how do we interpret that little thing that Jesus said we need to love the Lord our God, and then we need to love our neighbors as ourselves? These folks are our neighbors. These folks, I realize some of them we cannot help. They either won't accept the help, or we're not psychologists and psychotherapists. We can't treat the mental issues. But those folks that truly do want out, I tell you, this week really broke my heart, because we saw so many stories of people that through just unfortunate things in their life, the loss of a loved one, the breadwinner of their family, a young woman who left her home to escape a horribly abusive situation, and she has nothing. We saw so many cases of people that just have really felt trapped. And so we, as the body of Christ, what do? How do we handle that? This week showed me, even more so than before, the depth and the complexity of this problem. This is enormous. This is huge. This is not something that I'm going to be able to solve. It's not something you're going to be able to solve. But guess what? This isn't our battle. This is God's battle. And God will solve this. This is a battle for the control of souls, and I truly believe it's a spiritual battle. The pit, the area on 4th and Record where the homeless are allowed to hang out, is a breeding ground for hopelessness and despair. And those are the tools that Satan uses to attack us. And he attacks us to the point of desperation and to the point of giving up. And this is the battleground that I believe we as the body of Christ are gonna need to address. There are some things that we can do. And over the next days, weeks, months, I'm going to look at this. I don't know exactly where this is going to lead me, but I can tell you that I'm not done this week. I may be done with the homelessness, and I'm actually going to shave and clean up. But the work for me, and I'm sure the work for Pastor Angelo, it's just beginning. This is something we are going to address, and this is something we are going to try to find some solutions. Are we going to solve it? No. But that doesn't stop us from making things as good as we can. We can help some. We can't help them all. But the ones that we can help, it's our duty, it's our job, it's our calling to do that. And so that's what we're going to be doing over the next several weeks, is developing some ideas, developing perhaps some programs or some mechanisms that we can really reach out to these people and offer them some substantial help. So, I mean, that's kind of a quick opening statement. I will tell you that tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. we will be, my church, Trinity Baptist, and Pastor Angelo's church, New Life Christian Center, are going to hold a joint service. And we'll be at the New Life Christian Center at 6th and Spokane. We would love you guys to come down. It'll be a 9 a.m. service where we will talk about our experience, and then between the two services, we're going to have a chance for you to ask some questions, and we'll answer them to the best of our ability. And then the 11 a.m. service. So please attend either one of those or both, and stay for the question and answer session. We'd love to have you guys there. So at that point, I'm just going to turn it over to you guys. If you have any particular questions, I'll do my very best to answer them. So thank you all for all of you that are out there. I want to say also a special thank you for a couple of agencies and people. The Reno Sparks Gospel Mission has been a great champion of mine for many years now, and most of you know that. I teach class, I lead a chapel service, and those folks have done such amazing work to get people who truly do want the help off the streets and into a program to clean up their lives. I am so happy to be a part of that, and I have been for several years. I get to see these people walk in the front door, just desperate and hopeless. And then I see them almost over a year later, as they complete the program, getting a certificate of completion that says that you did something good, and then their lives have changed. These are not the same people. They not only helped me this week, but I've just been thrilled to be a part of their work for the last several years, and so I want to give a special thanks to them. Pastor Angelo and the staff at his church has been tremendously supportive, and we thank them for all of their work and supplying us things that we needed that we never even thought of when we went out. And then, of course, the folks at Multnomah University. Pastor John McKendrick is the director there. I tell you what, folks, if you're looking for an amazing place to get a great education that is truly God-centered, you cannot find a better place than the college that I'm so proud to be a graduate of, and now a graduate student working on my master's degree. So yeah, there's many different agencies and organizations that helped us pull this all together, and I want to thank each one of them. And so if any of you guys have any questions, fire away, and I'll be happy to answer. Hello, Craig. Good to see you on there tonight. And looks like I got several people from my church on. I see Kim Grady on there. Hello, Kim. Oh, you know what? I just happened to see one little icon there. I want to give a special thanks to my wife. She's done without me this whole week, and she's had to be the housekeeper and the dog sitter and the dog walker, and as of this morning, she is the official baker. So she's making some goodies to bring to church tomorrow, which is, by the way, another reason you might want to be there. I know what she made, and it's pretty darn good. But I want to thank you, Lisa. You are truly, you're my pillar of strength, and I couldn't do this without you, baby. So thank you for putting up with my absence. So with that, if anybody has any questions, we'll answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off and go get ready to lay down and take a nap for tonight. And tomorrow morning, I'm gonna get rid of this mess after church. So we're gonna preach just like this. And believe me, if you're a member of Trinity Baptist Church, I'm just gonna warn you right now: do not come up and hug me. You will regret it. Let's just do a high five, okay? Because we haven't showered in over a week, and we're really, yeah, well, you can imagine. So let's just do high fives tomorrow, and then after service, after the second service, I'm going to go reacquaint myself with my razor, and these clothes are going to be ceremoniously tossed into the dumpster, and we will call this officially an end. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do one more recap sometime, maybe tomorrow night or something. So just watch for a posting, because I want to pull together, after I've had some time to kind of think this over. I want to kind of pull together some additional thoughts that I have, and some ideas that I have for the future. So I want some time to kind of digest this week, and I'm going to post something. Yeah, Debbie Ingles, ripe is the word. You are not kidding. Good morning or good evening, Susan. I'm glad to see you on here too. This has been a week that's going to take some time to unpack. There's so much work ahead of us, and that work is not going to be easy. We have some very definite thoughts and some very definite ideas, and when I say we, I'm talking about Pastor Angelo and myself, that over the next several weeks and months, we're going to start rolling out some ideas that would certainly be a good starting point. But that's all it is. It's just simply a place to start to address some of the needs. I want to look at this problem. So this week I've looked at this problem from the viewpoint of the homeless. But the homeless is only a portion of the equation. They're the victims, oftentimes, and not always. Sometimes they're the cause. The homeless, one of their biggest enemies is law enforcement. And the law enforcement, in the eyes of the homeless, are the ones that keep them on the move. They won't let them settle down. They won't let them. It's always the cops that harass, and I put that in quotation marks because that's the word they use. So we've looked at it this week through the eyes of the homeless. But I also want to look at this issue through the eyes of the patrol officer, the officer that's doing his job, that has a wife and a family and kids to support, and he goes out and he's told by his superiors that he has to remove the homeless people from the streets of Reno because his bosses have commanded it. And his bosses have commanded it because the city has demanded it. And the city has demanded it because we as tax-paying citizens want safe streets. And so these officers have to go out and do a job that they don't want to do. And they're spit at, and they're cursed, and they're fought, and they're called names, and they're shot at. And this is the totally opposite point of view of the problem, because they're pulled kind of in between. I want to look at this situation, the homeless community, through the eyes of the patrol officer, the Reno bike officer that has to go down there and arrest. I got the very first day I was here, I watched an officer make an arrest on a woman for an open container violation and for vagrancy. She was sleeping on the city street, and there's a law against that. And so it was a bicycle patrol officer, and the first thing he did is he called for backup, and so a patrol car pulled up with two other officers in it. And this woman was being totally uncooperative. Now, she wasn't fighting them. She just wasn't doing what she was being told. And so I got the chance to watch kind of from about maybe 10, 15 feet away and watch how these officers handled the situation. I got to tell you, they did an amazing job. They were gentle with her. They were respectful, but they had a job to do, and they did it amazingly well. When they finished escorting her to the patrol car, I asked them if I could talk with them for a minute, and I told them who I was and what I was doing. And I said, you guys, I just witnessed something that was really incredible. They were so incredibly patient with her. I don't know that I could have had that much patience, but that's their job, and they do it day in and day out. And so I want to look at this story, this situation from them. Craig, you're asking a question. Did you find certain percentage of the people you spoke with willing to better their situation, or did it seem like they're giving up? Man, I'd say 80% have given up. They really have. There's a few. It depends on the length of the time that they've been in, especially in the area of the pit. If they've been there a long time, they are so wore down, they are so beat down, that truly they have given up hope. They feel like it's never going to get any better. I've talked to people that have been living on the streets for multiple years. One man that I talked to this morning had been on the streets for over 3 years, and he has said it's never. He was to the point that he was ready to kill himself because he knew it wasn't going to get any better. There was no way out. And fortunately, he actually went through the gospel mission. He finally got to that point where he was ready to commit suicide, and through really an act of God, he wound up going to the Reno Sparks Gospel Mission. He's completed the program, and he's an amazing man. That's the joy that I get to see at the Gospel Mission is lives changed. God transforming people from just total desperation to a life of hope. There are those percentage of people that don't want help. And like I said before, you can't force someone to seek help that they don't want. There are plenty of services that the city offers, and I only know of a few of them. I'm going to look into it over the next several weeks of some of the other services. I want to know more about what they offer. I want to know more about where to tell people to go who are struggling and hurting. There's plenty of programs out there, but they have to be willing, and sometimes they're not. Now, there are those that do want help, but many times, I found I'd say probably 25% of them just don't. So anyway, any other questions? Is there anybody else that had anything else they wanted to ask? Jorge, how you doing, man? Glad to see you on there too. Darlene, seeing you out there as well. All right, well, folks, listen, I'm going to wrap this up. God bless you all. Every day these videos have been viewed hundreds and hundreds of times. I think one of the videos went over 1,000 times. That's amazing that you all have an interest, and that I can be some sort of a vehicle. This week has been so worthwhile for me to show me what it's like, and I hope through my eyes and through my experience, maybe you've learned a little bit more about it as well. I can only tell you, like I said before, this is the beginning for me. This is not where it ends. There are things that we want to do, and things that I think the future holds for us, things that I feel God calling me to do. And so over the next several weeks and months, I'm going to unfold some of that for you. But I wanted to thank you all. Thank you for viewing these videos. Thank you for your incredible support and your comments. And thank you most of all for sharing this with other people. And, just talking to an empty camera would be kind of pointless, just talking to myself. But you all have responded and really been absolutely amazing. So I just want to thank you guys. And if you are in the Reno area, please, please, please join us tomorrow. We hopefully will video the services tomorrow, and I will post a link on my page if you're not in the Reno area to those to the church service. So again, Patrick Sladek, you just joined us, man. I'm sorry, I'm just wrapping up now, but go back and I'm going to post this, so go back and watch the whole thing because I talk about your folks and I love you, man. So I'm gonna sign off for tonight, and thank you again. If you're in the Reno area, please tomorrow morning come on down. Don't forget Lisa's cooking. She's bringing some goodies, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow morning. So God bless you all. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support, and let's make this something that we do, not just something we study, not just something we talk about. Let's make it something we work on. God bless you guys. Good night.